Another nice day in Southern California. It's not hot, it's not cold, just right. But unfortunately, we're going to leave the outdoors and the niceness of being out here to go over one of the most important episodes in the pizza making process, and that's how to make dough. It's really underrated, but dough can make the difference between awesome pizza and bland pizza. Even when the ingredients aren't that great, if you have great dough, it's going to make the whole world of a difference. So let's go inside and make some dough. And I know it's kind of arbitrary to say not that great of products, but the process itself is what's going to give us a great product here. Even though later on you can get into making better choices in flour. Here we put the water on here and we're going to incorporate so the complex sugars in the flour become simple sugars for our yeast that we just put in to go ahead and thrive and be able to have something to eat. That yeast, once it starts replicating, belching, and its byproducts, that's exactly what we want, because the byproducts are carbon dioxide and alcohols, and that's what really is going to give us our flavor, even if our flour's okay. That is what this is about. What we're doing here is we're developing the gluten, and the gluten is like a spider web of little strands that is going to hold our carbon dioxide and alcohols together inside of the dough to give us that flavor. So we're not too worried about the flour right now. What we want is the process. So you guys keep on mixing this, making sure that it becomes all incorporated. You don't want to have something have lumps of flour, because it's hard to get them out later on. So you just keep on grabbing from the bottom, turning, grabbing from the bottom, turning, and that's what we want. You guys, there's many different types of flours in the United States. We're going to use a high protein flour, which is typical here. All purpose to high gluten, they have between 11 to 15%. 00 Caputos from Italy, they have a lower percentage, but for our purposes in a home oven, we want this type of flour, as well as a high hydration, which means a lot of water in our flour, because it's going to cook for a long time in our oven, so we don't want it to dry out, which will give us a better product in the end. Harder to take out of the peel, but better product. After we're done, you guys, we're going to let it rest for about 10 minutes. Here we go, 10 minutes are over. Then we're going to incorporate the salt. And the reason we do it this way is because if you add the salt at the beginning, the yeast has to fight to live, and the salt kills yeast. So we don't want to do that. We want to give it some time to thrive. Again, grab from the bottom, turn, grab from the bottom, turn, and keep on incorporating that way. You just want to keep on turning, make sure that you're doing it softly, but at the same time tugging. You don't want to do too much and pull too much, because what happens is you can kind of break the gluten, and if you break the gluten, like here, we've had it become too chewy in the end once we cook it. Keep on mixing, you guys. This is the pincer method, and we do this to emulate a stand mixer, and to incorporate it better, we grab, we put it back in, and then we turn it and mix it. Again, like I was saying, you guys, high hydration, which means higher percentage of water, 70% in this case. And we also want to use all-purpose to high gluten flour. If you have a wood-burning oven, sure, use a 00 Caputo. But for our purposes, we're going to use what we have at hand, and then later on, I'll go over some flours that are pretty tasty. We mix different flours to make our recipe, but you guys can start with your own flour that you have at home. What we're going to do from here, you guys, is we're going to put it into a tub and let it rest. It's called bulk fermentation. And that bulk fermentation is where we're actually going to see that yeast come alive, start thriving. This is bulk fermentation, not too exciting. In the next videos, you'll see on the top right corner the actual dough moving and bubbling up and down. So if you pay attention to the top right on both instances, you'll see it move. You guys, look at the recipes below for great pizza crust, and I guarantee you guys it'll be amazing, better than anything in the chains.